Hey Guardians, welcome to the next episode of The Other 99%. It is I, Sugars with an S, from the Senate House. Well, Guardians, this is going to be a little bit different. This is going to be a three-part series. It's going to be a review of Destiny 2. A true review of Destiny 2. I think that we've been well enough into the game. We've played a lot. We've seen all there is to see. We've gone through everything that is to go through, but we can give a true and just review. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, the first part here, I'm just going to review the PvE or player versus environment part of Destiny. And the second part, I'm going to review the PvP, player versus player, or the Crucible part. And the third part, I'm just going to give a general kind of how I feel and what I think, Destiny's path forward should be. Alright, so let's do this. There are two things that we should take into account here. You never miss the water till the well runs dry. That's a good old Shinobi saying. So, PvE can be divided into story, strike, nightfall, and then raid. Generally speaking, in terms of increasing difficulty, you should have the story, then the strikes, then the normal raid, then the nightfall, then the hard raid. So, Master Shinobi once told me, be careful what you ask for. What I mean by this is that we as a community asked for more cutscenes. So Bungie gave us more cutscenes. Now we asked for a better story. Bungie, for the most part, gave us a better story. Now, I admit that story in the first one wasn't really there, and I will say that I really like the story. I like the path that the story took. However, I personally found the story was too short. I personally find that if you can reach maximum level within a day or even a couple days, then there's something inherently wrong with the game. Because to me, the game is now too easy. It is too simple. I see absolutely nothing wrong with the game being a little bit more difficult, that you're having to grind a little bit more, that you have to play multiple times to get to where you need to be. So to me, I felt like the adventures should have been part of the story. In fact, when I first played it with my warlock, I thought the adventures were part of the story. So I was there going through all the adventures, saying, man, this is really good. And then only to find afterwards that it was not, that it's optional. So, the first thing I will say is that if something is optional, then you'd better make it so that people want to do it. And after you get the exotic weapons, there is no reason to do any of the other adventures. There is none. So, me personally, what I think is that while we did get more story, we got less meaningful story. Alright, the second part of PvE, strikes. Now this part was like really confusing to me because I had gotten accustomed to having regular strikes and then heroic strikes, and then since all you have is strikes, just plain old strikes. I mean, I even liked how in Rise of Iron, how they had regular, heroic, and then Ziva strikes. You know, like a three-tier kind of difficulty. You got the easy, the medium, and then the hard. But this one is just regular strikes. And the strike playlist is there isn't much variety. I have played the two same strikes all the time. The only time I did this third one here was for the Nightfall. So I don't know what is going on with the whole strike rotation, but as far as I can tell, there are only 3 strikes in Bungie in Destiny 2. And that lack of variety I can't really get behind. The strike difficulty is it's fair. There's some nice mechanics. I mean, I enjoy the strikes. I will say that the strikes are well done. So I really don't have much criticism per se of the strikes because I like it. They're well done. The 2 that I've played, well, the 3 for the Nightfall, and you know, it's cool. Now moving on to the Nightfall. So this to me is where Bungie and I definitely begin to part ways. Because one of the criticisms that Bungie had was that players took their time to play the Nightfall the old way. And they didn't like that. They bemoaned the fact that, according to them, there was not much skill involved in playing that way. So, you know, they threw on a timer and now we have this particular type of Nightfall. Which, for those of you that don't know, this is actually just a speed run of a strike. Let's just call it what it is. It's a speed run of a strike. There is absolutely no skill involved in this. None at all. In fact, the only semblance of them attempting to get skill involved in this is by holding you in an area and making it so that you have to kill a particular enemy before you can move forward. So guess what everybody does? They look for that specific enemy, they kill it, and then they just run past all the other enemies. Yeah. The Nightfalls now, I'll be honest, they're way too easy and they're just terrible. I do not enjoy playing the Nightfalls. So, only if somebody from my clan asks me to come on to do a Nightfall with them, then do I do it. And even then, we do all sort of things to make it a little bit more interesting. But I personally prefer the fact when your whole team wiped, you got booted back to orbit. I preferred that the nightfalls were harder, that you got more enemies, that there were different modifiers involved, that there were burns involved, that it required you to use more strategy to be like, okay, well, let's go with these particular weapons because they help with this, that, and the other. It's there was more planning involved. No, it's just like, hey, let's just throw on X, Y, and Z weapon and jump into the fray. Nightfalls now they they're not at the level that they should be at. And finally, raids. Well, for a while now, the raids have been going down. Now, while the raid itself may be nice and fun and exciting and better than the raid before, there are a couple things, or rather a few things, that have made it so that I actually don't want to play the raid. So, to give you a perspective, when I first played Destiny 1, the Dark Below was already out. So, there was the Proto raid, and then there was the Water Glass raid. I loved playing those raids so much. Without fail, I played the raids multiple times on all my characters. I just used to go on LFG, even though I'd done it already, go on LFG and look for who needs an extra person or whatever, and I just go on the raid and do it and help out people and play and all that sort of thing. I loved it. Then I started with King's Fall, but I noticed the trend that the raids were taking. And what I will say is that the raids are almost like a direct reflection of how Bungie has PvE. If you notice that there are 4 sections, I believe, in this raid, but you don't need to earn the right to go to the next section to experience it. You just need to wait for the week to pass to then experience that section. I am very sorry, but that is not the way that it should be done. To me, you need to earn the right to move forward. And if you haven't earned the right, then you just need to find a group that will help you earn the right to move forward. As well as the raid weapons and the raid gear is terrible. Well, gear and weapons on a whole, well, cover that in part 3. But what is the true difference between regular mode and hard mode? And truth be told, you should not have a challenge mode. I think that to get past that specific boss or area, the challenge should already be built into the raid. You should not make it so simple, so easy. I mean, the PvE part of Destiny 2 is so simple. It is so easy. They're giving away everything. That it doesn't feel like you've actually accomplished anything. I'm sorry, but the nightfalls aren't as difficult as they used to be. The raids aren't as difficult as they used to be. Sure, the mechanics are better and all that. I mean, but you know, it's there's a lack of like of it being unique. The raids are basically like a longer strike that you can save faster. That's really what it comes down to. So what it seems like is that we got the story mode, we got the strikes, which are the regular strikes, we got the nightfall, which is the heroic strike, and we got the raid, which is basically the Ziva strike that you can save. I'm sorry. We've gotten more for Destiny 2, but we've actually gotten less of a game. And it's really disappointing because I love Destiny. I mean, as you guys know, I'm not like a particularly great player. I'm above average. I'm average, around there. I have my below average days too. So I'd say I'm about average. And what I notice is that it's just the game has not progressed forward. And it's sad. There are changes that I think definitely need to be made. But you know what? We as a community complained about things. We complained about the grind. But guess what? That grind is the same thing that helped make Destiny 1 Destiny 1. That grind is the same thing that helped make Destiny 1 popular. The grind of leveling up weapons and armor and all that sort of thing. That is what made Destiny 1 Destiny 1. I will leave you with this. Bungie made a lot of changes. A whole lot. There's an old Shinobi saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Alright folks? Make sure to check out part 2 and part 3 of this video. Like, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when the next video is up. And definitely leave a comment if you feel moved to. I would like to hear your opinions and your views on what you think of the PvE part of Destiny 2. And join me in part 2. It is Sugars with an S. Laters is greaters.